I am a mad Morris. Apparently, there are people out there who have the gall to be bad at the Lord of the Rings trading card game Fellowship block. So, I have decided to form an elite team of me, Quincy Morris, Void Ninja, most recent tournament winner of the daily tournament, and my brother, and a random bird, who is also my brother, to talk about some what we would call good cards that maybe shouldn't necessarily be in every deck, but if you're wanting to think, oh, what do I need to put in my deck? These are good go-to cards that are cards that can help basically any deck, and maybe should be in almost every deck. Say hello, Void Ninja and Bird.
Hello, I'm Void Ninja.
Hello, I have a problem. All my decks are 100 cards plus. Just
Oh,
realized
that's
that.
okay. True men have big
That
decks.
is actually a good question to be like, how big should your deck be?
Well, we're not
And this
talking
is
about that. We can
big.
do another video on how
That
big
sounds like a good
decks should be. So
video.
we're gonna
The
go
answer
culture
is
by
60 to
culture.
100 cards.
We're gonna go culture by culture here, and we'll start with the dwarves, which are easy, because there is one card in the dwarf
Yeah.
deck that can work in basically every deck, and that's Theron. Bird, you
Fighter
want to
of
talk about why
Balrogs.
Theron is so good?
He exerts, he fights the Balrog, he dies, he saves you at site 9.
Yeah, he can
Yeah.
save you at site 9. He can
He's
save you at any
really good.
site. You don't need to spot a dwarf to play him. You don't need to do anything. He's one Twilight. He's not a companion. You pull him in, he fights some big minion, and he dies. He can be in any deck. He doesn't really have any synergies, even in a dwarf deck, although it can be fun to boost him up and have him win, but then you've exerted him, so you can't bring him in again.
So you can actually use shoulder to shoulder nonsense with him.
Yes,
That
you can use
can
shoulder
be
to shoulder to
even
heal
extra
him, but
synergy.
Or throwing
generally,
axe
just
for
throw him in a
archery.
deck and he can be good. Okay, that's the entire dwarf culture. Moving onwardly, next culture is the elves. So let's talk about Legolas Greenleaf. Void Ninja, I'm intrigued by your opinion about whether or not Legolas Greenleaf has a place in every deck.
Oh yeah, Legolas Greenleaf, in my opinion, is actually maybe one of two of these elf cards that you've actually put here that actually does belong in this place. Because Legolas, he can exert to wound and remove your problems. If you got a Moria Swarm on your hand, you can get rid of two of those really annoying minions.
Yeah, or
He's
even
very
if it's
nice.
not Moria Swarm, if it's a really nasty 2 Vitality minion, you can take him out.
He's especially good if you have some form of healing in your deck, but even if not, he can show up, deal with problems, and then you can kill him off.
Yeah, and I don't know if we included Tale of Gilgalad. I
We
wanted to
didn't.
include Tale of Gilgalad, which is the +1
No,
Vitality, but I
not
think
It's
in
we
the
nice
agreed
to
green
against it.
remove
lineup.
things that it's like, oh, you need this other thing for that, which is why I don't think any of the other elves, except for one of the versions of Elrond, should be on this list.
Well, let's get and talk to those others. So, Bird and I are of the opinion that the elf, we call this like the elf archer set, is good because, Void Ninja, make your case for the elf archers allies.
So I mean, they are good.
No, you're not.
but
You're not
you-
Bird.
I'm Bird,
I am
and
Void
I'm the
Ninja.
one who said it's good. Let me
Okay,
give the
Bird.
argument before
You
he
make
gives
the
the
case
negative.
for why it's good.
Okay, pretty much all decks that aren't Nazgul are going to have either Orcs or Urkai. So you throw in one or both of them because meta. Here's the second argument. Their home site is site 6, which means, hey, let's say I moved from site 3 to site 4. I was scared of the Balrog, so I stopped at site 4. Very common. Now I go and fight site 5, and I get wrecked by the Balrog, but I've got to get that healing. If you have 1, 2, maybe 3 site 6 allies out, you can move to site 6 for free, and your allies will just get you there. Then you get healed up, and you can recover from the Balrog. And then when you're not at site 6, they're exerting to remove problems.
Yeah, why is it so bad to stop at site 5 if you're at site 4?
Because then you got to stop at site 6 or you're not going to get any healing.
Right. No, that was a rhetorical question. I was trying to explain to the new players why it's very bad to stop at site 5.
So I will somewhat amend my position. I don't think the exerts to wound orcs and the exerts to wound your Kai guys should be in every deck. But I do think the exert in the regroup phase to wound people is
Minion.
worth it for the reasons that William said.
And yeah, for the
Because
same
he
reasons
can
that
make it to where
Greenleaf.
they did this big swarm on you at site 5. You can exert a bunch of him a bunch to kill that problem, and then he fights at site 6. So he's very useful.
Yeah,
There's
and
another person you don't have here, which is exert to remove Twilight, which I would have instead of the exert to wound orcs and exert to wound Yokai, because those
Okay.
guys are 2 dex specific.
Here's my argument. The exert to remove Twilight guy is depending on your opponent to not use all the Twilight you gave him, which is
That is true.
reactive. The exert to wound any minion can work on Nazgul or the Cave Troll, and often you are not playing a dwarf deck with damage +1, which means even when you're winning the skirmish, you end with a bunch of like 1 health minions that lost to the skirmishes, but they had enough vitality to survive, and you need the exert to wound guy to be able to move on freely in the recruit phase, or else you'll get swarmed. I
Yeah,
used to
I
think he
definitely
wasn't
think
good,
the exert to wound guy
and
is,
now I think
is
he's very good.
So I think the consensus we can come to is some sort of Site 6 allies can be good in any deck. Which ones you want and how many is kind of up to you. But they can really
go-
help any deck because they don't require elves to play. So even if your deck doesn't run elves, they can be good.
Having
And if you
one
run all
site
of
6
them, you
ally,
throw Galadriel in
Right.
there.
If you have run all of them, then running Galadriel is a good idea because she heals those Site 6 allies, and then you can get a lot of value out of them. And then again, even if you're not running an elf deck, having the 4 Site 6 elf allies and Galadriel can be really good.
And then at that point, you might as well throw in Secret Sun.
Right. At that point, you might as well throw in Secret Sentinels because it's just any elf ally, and this is one of the best cards in the game for getting rid of conditions. And getting rid of conditions is
can
really
suck.
important. The reason we don't list Galadriel's ring is that you really have to draw Galadriel and her ring, and while it's fine to have decks that include both of those, trying to get that specific combo is not really what this list is about. This is about individually good cards, which is why we've also included Elrond. If your deck does have elves and you can play the Elrond that lets you draw cards, drawing cards is just always good, and so
I kind of strongly disagree with that.
Elrond is
honestly.
basically you play him and then you draw 3. And that's
He's
good in
so
any card
expensive.
game.
That is way too expensive most of the time. He is only good if you're playing him for free with Galadriel, or you have a free remove 2 with the Aragorn that you haven't talked about yet.
Or if you're playing decks that are able to pull allies. But drawing cards is
Yeah.
good because you can get your other fellowship cards faster. So if you think of it that way, it's basically a draw 2 because instead of drawing this, you could have drawn something else. So it's a
Right, but
4/4, you can draw 2.
this Elrond is very situational. The other Elrond can be any deck.
But remember, so first of all,
Well, we're
the
including
elf
both
allies do
Elronds
count for the
because
spotting requirement.
You can use either one. I don't think this Elrond is situational. I think the situation is just if you have Gandalf or an elf in your deck. You
He
use,
can't
that's the,
be
that's
in
the
your
situation.
deck. So
The
he's
other
situational.
Elrond is good because he just heals. It's a consistent way to get healing. You can exert him twice in their group phase to heal, and then he heals himself. And so you're paying 4 to get it depends on when you play him. So if it's towards the end of the game, it may not be worth it to play him, but then just don't. But if you can get him out early, that can be really good, especially if you're running a short deck where you might be able to get this guy out before home site 3.
He also
These
Also,
were less
combo
convinced
really
about
well.
the Elronds, but that's why I wanted other opinions.
The second argument for that Elrond is he combos with all of the exert to do something cool, which we're about to go into, companions, because his healing is in the regroup phase, which means you move, you exert to do something cool, and then Elrond heals you, and then you can exert to do something cool again.
Right, like Greenleaf. And-
Greenleaf, Son of Denethor, or Friend of
Yeah,
Sam.
getting healing in their group phase is actually very
Right.
strong because this game is really all about being able to double move.
Yeah.
And if you move and you get hosed and then you have to stop, that means the other guy is doing his job. So being able to heal in their group phase so that you might want to move again can be good. Okay, what other elf cards? That's it,
That's
right?
elf.
Those are the only elf. Yeah. Not actually that
Did you
many.
talk about Galadriel?
What?
Yeah, we did.
Did you? Okay.
The other Galadriel can exert to play elves for free if you're doing an elf deck. She's pretty good for that. Okay. Gandalf cards. I think we only have two. We wanted to talk about Betrayal of Isengard. Not necessarily that you want this. This is a little meta dependent, but we wanted to point out the fact that you can include this card in any deck even if you don't run Gandalf.
Yeah.
And a lot of decks use the effect of drawing cards when they're minions. Obviously, Moria does it with the Goblin Scimitar, but there are other
Moria
decks.
meta is huge right now.
There are other decks that
Yeah,
do
Moria
it.
is pretty peaked. I don't see really any other faction other than Moria doing that. There are cards that do that, but I don't see those used.
The point is, this card can counter that in a way that doesn't require you to run a Gandalf deck. It's
Yeah.
obviously stronger if you have Gandalf in it, but not that much because you have to also be running Gandalf and then be running a deck that includes Saruman. So the most value you're getting out of this card is the first part, the removing Twilight when they play cards, because that really, and since it's not unique, you could actually run multiples of these to really hose Moria. It's like a weaker version of Song of Durin, which the dwarves get. So if you're not running a dwarf deck and you really are angry about all of these Moria cards, consider running Betrayal of Isengard. Similarly, Gandalf's Wisdom, if you happen to be running a bunch of Gandalf Signet characters, maybe have Gandalf's Wisdom. I actually considered adding Gandalf's Wisdom to my deck, my dwarf deck, because I have run the Gandalf Signet Gimli, and a lot of cards I play on Gimli are high Twilight cost. I don't because the deck is too big, but that kind of thing is something to think about.
What is this too big concept you're talking about?
Yeah. Bird or Void Ninja. Do you have anything you want to say about these two cards?
No,
I did want to
definitely.
amend that there is a eye card that makes you draw a card when they move on. That card would help with as well.
Well, yeah, but that wouldn't trigger here because that's during the regroup phase, not during the shadow phase.
Oh yeah, you're right. So really, that is just a anti-Moria card.
Yeah, but Moria is pretty popular and always has been, so it's a good card. Okay, let's talk about Gondor.
Gondor will see it done.
So we include Aragorn in here. Why do we include Aragorn as a companion? We don't include a lot of companions as, oh, you can include these in every deck.
That Aragorn is a 2-cost 8 strength, which is busted.
Yeah, it's really good. Also, Prancing Pony is very popular, and so even if you get outbid, maybe just have Aragorn in your deck, so that if Prancing Pony is the Sight 1, you at least get the most powerful companion out there. And I am of the opinion if you're including Aragorn, and since Prancing Pony is so popular, and you're almost always going to be getting Aragorn out, you might as well give him his flaming brand and his sword and No Stranger to the Shadows, and armor, and his bow.
So I have Aragorn in my deck. He's one of my primary companions, and I do not have armor in my deck. The reason for that is because armor is really only good against Urkai, though I am realizing it is good against
the Cave Troll
Moria
and the
with the
Balrog.
Cave Troll.
Balrog.
But I have a bunch of healing in my deck, and I have Mithril Coat instead to deal with some of those issues.
So, some of this is meta dependent. Obviously, if Uruk-hai are not and Cave Trolls aren't popular, don't run armor. But I think armor is really good. It isn't just the lose damage bonuses. It's the best version of this effect, which is bearer takes no more than 1 wound during each skirmish phase, which means if they have an eye minion that exerts to wound, that's the 1 wound you take. They can't do the exert to wound and then win the skirmish and wound you again. If they any other version of that effect that wounds you in the skirmish phase can't stack with armor, which is better than the loses damage bonuses from weapons, which some cards give, because there's other ways to get damage bonuses. You can get them from events. You can get them from innately. Athelas is good. I definitely want to talk about Athelas here, because if you're including Gondor companions, I think you really want to include Athelas. Not just because it's healing, but because removing shadow conditions from companions is something that I think every deck needs to have a way of dealing with.
I would say it wouldn't be worth it to add it if it didn't get rid of shadow conditions.
Oh, definitely.
It would
Yeah.
still be worth it if it couldn't heal you.
Yeah.
Because shadow conditions on you is a big problem.
Yeah. The primary value of Athelas is removing the shadow conditions. The healing is if they don't happen to be running attachable shadow conditions, or you really need the healing. And then we already talked about Flaming Brand and his sword. These are just good.
Yep.
And
Let's talk about Dagger Strike.
okay, let's talk about Dagger Strike. So Dagger, we kind of had the idea, well, if we're including the sword and Flaming Brand, and if you're including Sting and maybe Hobbit Sword, Hobbit Sword's not in here. I think Hobbit Sword should be in
Yeah,
here.
or Frying Pan.
We talked about, we have Frying Pan. I'm gonna add the Hobbit Sword real quick.
Sting is just better
Actually-
Hobbit Sword.
There is Last Alliance of Men and Elves, and if you had that deck with all of those elven allies, you'd want that. And then with all of that stuff, Aragorn would be a 14 strength without any events, which is ridiculous.
Yes, you could add Last Alliance of Men and Elves, but we're talking about we're talking about Shire right now. Well, no, we
Yeah.
were talking about Gondor. So
We're
Dagger
talking
Strike.
about Gondor, and we're talking about Elf before that. So
Well,
that's
yeah,
why
we can go back to Last Alliance of Men and Elves. So Dagger Strike. Bird, why is Dagger Strike so good?
Because if Frodo has a Frying Pan, a Hobbit Sword, or Sting, it is a secret Shire card that gives you Strength +2, and it's the only Shire card that gives you damage +1.
And why
do.
are boosts to the Shire companions so important?
Because if Frodo dies, you lose the game. So any
Right.
card that makes Frodo stronger at Site 9 is huge. And if it also can help out your Aragorn every once in a while, we call that synergy.
Yeah,
But
there
if
are
you don't have a hand weapon, it does nothing. So make sure you have enough hand weapons if you're going to throw
Right.
in some Dagger Strikes.
there are pure Shire decks that run this card just because it boosts Shire companions. Obviously, only run this if you have the weapons to combo with it, and maybe don't if you have enough other types of boosting events. But we wanted to talk about this because of its versatility, and it has so much versatility that we're like, this almost has a place in every deck, because basically every deck should be having Hobbit Sword. It's time to talk about Shire. A Hobbit Sword, if you have non-Frodo Hobbits, which they're all pretty good. Frying Pan or Sting. Where's Sting?
It's next to Frying Pan.
Yes. Things that make your ring bearer stronger are good. Sting is the best version because it is literally just better than the Hobbit Sword for Frodo, but as you can see, this is Bearer Must Be Hobbit, so you can put Hobbit Swords on other Hobbits who are very good. Being able to look at your opponent's hand is really good. Removing Twilight is really good. Don't use it willy-nilly.
30 is expensive.
A wound is expensive. But like exerting and then seeing if you want to move on, that's really good. Let's talk about the Hobbits. Void Ninja. What do you think about adding Hobbits to your deck?
I think Merry Friend of Sam is really, really good. I used to not think that he was good, and I thought the Merry that was Strength +2 of having a weapon was better, but then I used Merry Friend of Sam, and getting your companions stronger when you need them to be stronger is really nice. And since he's a companion that's out, you can kind of do that when you need to, and you don't have to have a card in your hand.
Yeah. What's
do
fun about
that.
Merry Friend of Sam is that you can assign a minion to him, have that skirmish resolve. Merry takes the wound, and then you still can. And since he's no longer assigned at that point, you can exert him twice and add his strength.
Yep.
And you can add his strength to Frodo, which again, he's basically an event masquerading as a companion.
Yeah.
But he's an event on
And if you
tap.
put a Hobbit Sword on him, you can add Strength +5 to someone.
Yeah, which is better
really
than any booster, except for Savagery to match their numbers. So yeah, that's really good. We included Pippin, Hobbit of some usefulness. I mean, Hobbit of some intelligence, because he's basically a elf song / Athelas that also can fight the Balrog once.
Yeah. He also makes it where you can bet one more.
That's true. If he's in your starting lineup, you can bet one more burden, and he will remove that burden from your bid.
Yep.
Which
It
is
does not allow you to
Not
bet
if you
10,
bid
though.
10.
yeah, but
Yeah.
not if you bid 10 and lose the game. Okay. And then we have the two Sams. Both of these are good. They both do different things. We have Sam, Eater of Burdens, and Suicide Sam. Bird, which one do you want to talk about?
I'll talk about Eater of Burdens because the fun strategy is the beer strat, which is where you have Sam, Son of Hamfest, in your deck, and then you have the Green Dragon Inn as your site one. You bid a billion, and then you use your site one to pull out Sam. Sam eats all your burdens, and that way you don't actually get penalized if you really have to stop at site two. Going first is a huge benefit. I don't like splash companions, but when it's something like Greenleaf or Friend of Sam or Son of Hamfest, where you're getting a lot of value more than just they're showing up and dying, they make sense. I don't have him in all decks, but he's pretty good.
Okay, while we're talking about the hobbits, let's go back in time and talk about Boromir, because one, we forgot to. But two, if we're including all of these hobbits and we're talking about how important it is to buff Frodo, we've included Boromir, son of Denethor, on this list. Because he can exert to make a hobbit strength +3. And that can save you the game, and that's pretty good. Then there's Boromir, Lord of Gondor. Who wants to talk about why Boromir, Lord of Gondor is so good?
I'll take this one. Okay. Every single deck has to have a Balrog solution plan. And Boromir is the cheapest Balrog solution plan because he's the only companion in the entire game, Lord of Gondor, who can fight the Balrog once without dying with no other cards, which means then he can fight him a second time, and your one singular card has gotten you past Site 5.
Yeah, he is the only companion in the game, I'll repeat it again, who, with only the text on his card, can fight the Balrog and not die. Every other companion dies to the Balrog without any intervention of some kind.
There is the Gandalf, but you have to have shenanigans for that to work.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. There's the Gandalf who, if you have other companions out and he's boosted to a certain level, he can fight it. But again, that's relying on other cards. The idea is individual cards that are good. And then if you're including all of these Gondor characters, Saga Valendil is probably worth.
You should also mention the other Boromir is not a ranger, and he's the one version.
Yeah,
Son of Denethor.
Son of Denethor is not a ranger. But that's because his ability is so good. His ability is so good they had to nerf him and remove his ranger text because exert to make a hobbit strength +3 is so good. Also, that combos with Merry, friend to Sam. These two are busted. This
and not a bad starting lineup.
This gets silly and not a bad starting lineup. With this Merry and this Boromir.
Just focus on healing and you got yourself the starting of a deck.
Yeah.
Don't accidentally throw No Stranger to the Shadows in there because
all right.
Not all cards played by her must be Gondor.
Now, let's talk about self-delete Sam. Why do we call him Suicide Sam? One, it's funny to say that, and we don't believe in monetization on this channel. And two, Void Ninja.
That's
do you want to
kinda
talk
what he
about
does.
why Suicide Sam is so good?
I mean, I think it's almost self-explanatory with his ability. Exert Sam twice to make him Defender +1 and deliver group phase. It's like he's never going to be strong enough to survive 2 minions, but
Hobbit
you can
stealth.
do that.
Hobbit stealth.
Okay, that is true. You can Hobbit stealth, and that is pretty good if you can exert him twice to have the Cave Troll and the Balrog fight him. Then you Hobbit stealth, and you do that again in Hobbit stealth.
Now, if
That's
you
the
wanted to be
dream with his
silly,
ability.
you could exert Sam twice, make him Defender +1, play Stout and Sturdy to heal him, and then exert him twice again to make him Defender +2.
Huh.
Fight everybody. That is, by the way, the only real use of Stout and Sturdy I can think of.
Except for Frying Pan.
Except for Frying Pan or Hobbit and Swordplay. I just thought I'd bring that up because it's funny. But yeah, like Void Ninja was saying, he is like the ultimate splash companion. He can splash against 2 minions. Which is
then there's the other Aragorn, which we skipped, who can splash against every companion.
Yeah, this Aragorn, if you can splash against every companion. Yeah, you can just throw this in a deck, and he can come out at any site and just fight a whole bunch of guys, and maybe save you for the same.
But then good luck
reason.
moving on.
And you see how they have similar signets? That's because it's similar playstyles. Mostly that Gandalf has cards that can buff other companions or prevent wounds to them or make them stronger, that sort of thing. Frying Pan can be good on any of these characters. I actually like putting it on Pippin because
Yeah.
like this Sam and this Sam need to exert, and this Mary needs to exert.
Frying pan is best put on Pippin.
Yeah, Pippin doesn't really have anything else to do, but exerting to be able to wound orcs is actually very good. There's a lot of low vitality orcs
Yep.
that can be killed. Okay, so that's what other Shire cards should we talk about? Bounder. Why is Bounder good?
He keeps you from losing the game.
He keeps you from
Yeah.
losing the game. That's exactly right. He can keep Frodo from being overwhelmed unless his strength is tripled. I run 2 of this guy in my dwarf deck. He's really good. Filbert Bulger.
And his home side is 2, which is funny.
Yeah, it's his
You
home
want to
side's
talk about another thing about Bounder? So the Gandalf Signet Frodo synergizes really well with Bounder.
right. He heals
'cause-
an ally every turn.
And that's the only way
Shire.
that you can heal Bounder.
Right.
so
you
that
can't
can
use Hobbit and
reuse
Party Guest to
Bounder.
heal Bounder because he's home site 2. And
Right.
being home site 2 means if you get him out on the first turn, you can actually have him fight, although that's not usually worth it.
Yeah, it depends.
It
I have done it before, but
can be done, but yeah.
depends.
Filbert Bulger. Why is Filbert Bulger good?
He's
He-
a solution
Balrog's
to the
solution.
Balrog.
He's a solution to the Balrog, and he also Nazgul hate him. Nazgul hate this one simple trick because Nazgul tend to be fierce. Also, the cave troll. There's a lot of really nasty, fierce minions, and a lot of those minions can overwhelm you. Because normally you're like, okay, exerting twice, how is that different than losing the skirmish and taking 2 wounds? Well, a lot of those big old minions can sometimes increase their damage with things like Lurtz's Battle Cry, which I don't see anybody using, and I have no idea why.
I use it.
Good for you, Bird.
Filbert Bulger makes Pippin a lot more useful.
Yeah, and exerting the hobbits are very likely to be overwhelmed, and since they have high vitality, they can exert twice, and that's not that bad. Like it's much better for Pippin to take 2 wounds than like Boromir to take 2 wounds or Legolas to take 2 wounds because they need those exertions for important things. Sam could be exerting to do important things, but hobbits also have a lot of healing. If you want to do that. But like I said, the higher vitality makes it so the 2 exertions are not that big of a deal. Aragorn's bow, we didn't talk about, but
We already talked about that.
if you're running Aragorn, you should run Aragorn's bow for the same reasons that Greenleaf is good. Greenleaf and Aragorn with Aragorn's bow, just like it turns into an FPS shooter at that point, which is fun.
Yeah.
Bill the Pony reduces Twilight. Why is reducing Twilight the whole game? Who wants to talk about this?
So Twilight Denial is good because if they're not playing cards, those are cards that are now stuck in their hand, which means they're not cycling their deck, which is really good. But I have I've loved Build a Pony. I've used Build a Pony since I was like way younger than I am now. But his discard at underground sites, I used to have 2 of them so I could play them again. But often, especially if you're going against someone who runs underground site 4 sites, you're stopping at site 4 or site 5, which can be underground, which means that if you play him at one of those underground sites, he's immediately discarded. So then he's just clogging up your hand and you're not getting the full value of him. So I've started being like, I'd rather kind of have just like a better card than Build a Pony,
Something like
unless I'm really committing to Twilight Denial.
something like
Something
Talon
as
of
a
Not Being
Talon-
Seen.
Yeah.
So if you
I
got
really
2
like that.
hobbits and you want to exert, and you could even exert Filbert Bulger, Talon of Not Being Seen doesn't get discarded.
Right, you don't
as
have
long
to
as the
exert a
people aren't
companion. You can exert like Filbert Bulger, who has a vitality that you don't need to use. A lot of cards
Yep.
like Bounder, for example, you have to exert Bounder. Filbert Bulger, you don't exert him. And some cards, you just have to exert a Hobbit to play them. Like, for example, Green Dragon Inn, we were talking about, it's just exert a Hobbit. Talon of Not Being Seen is less Twilight. Same reason that No Stranger to the Shadows, less Twilight. The game is about you having a better strength than whatever they have the money to play, and them having less money is one of the ways to get around that. Okay, let's talk about Mithril Coat. What is it that Mithril Coat can do?
Everything. This card is really good if Frodo has a weapon.
It's
This card does nothing if Frodo does not have a weapon.
That's
Yeah.
not actually true.
It doesn't
the
do
reducing
nothing.
archery is still really good. It protects you against Moria Archer. It even protects you against some amounts of Uruk-hai because there's 2 different Uruk-hai that are archers. But it also protects you against Eye because Goblin Bowman is really good, and having 1 reduction in archery is very nice.
Yeah,
And if
stopping
you
the
have
damage bonuses
other
is
Frodo,
good.
It's just one cost.
The strength bonuses from weapons is good. This doesn't protect you from things like minions that exert to wound, because that's not a damage bonus. That's just wounding you in other ways. It's like,
Yeah.
he doesn't get a damage bonus, but he can hurt you in other ways.
Yeah.
The only like group of minions that Mithril Coat doesn't do much against is Nazgul.
But Nazgul have weapons, so you still help if they put like a sword on a Nazgul that gives them damage +1 because you've got 3 burdens. Mithril Coat's breaking both of those abilities.
That
Yeah.
assumes that you're able to get the other stuff on them, but yeah.
Now, if you have Nazgul, we use Oelbereth Chthoniel. Maybe one of the most powerful cards in the game, I would say.
It's strength +1.
It's strength plus
And it's a
1
tail.
to your ring bearer, which is great. And you can discard it to just smoke bomb out of a fight with a Nazgul.
Just
or-
like in the book.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or to take
Happens
off the
a
one
lot.
ring, which sometimes you want to do because there are certain ring combos that Nazgul can do to corrupt you, which are fun.
I don't think I've ever used it to take off the one ring.
Yeah, I honestly forgot that it could do that until I moused over it just now.
Yeah.
No, if you're starting to take a bunch of burdens and then you actually had health left, it's like,
Like,
It's-
it theoretically could protect you against Return to its Master, but I've never seen Return to its Master played.
I saw
It-
it once. Somebody corrupted me with Return of its Master, and I was like, oh, it's so good. Oh, the prophecy is foretold. The old combo we thought we could do when we were kids playing Ghosts. Like, oh, if we do this, this, and this, like it can be done. It can be done.
can we talk about the best card in the game now?
There and back again?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I?
Go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead, Bird.
Dear
us-
people who play this game, please put this in your deck. I am begging you. I have 4 copies of this card in my Hobbit deck because of how good it is. Now, you might be like, Bird, it's unique. You can only have 1 of it. Why would you ever put 4? Because you can just discard it every turn, and every turn, all your Hobbits are Strength +2. Now, if you have 4 Hobbits in your deck, and they're all Strength +2, that is 1 card that is Strength +8. Show me another card that is a single card that gives you Strength +8. It can't be done. It's so good. And using this card will teach you the game better because you have to do it in the maneuver phase, which means you have to go through the entire archery phase, assignment phase, and skirmish phase, and fierce skirmish phase in your head before deciding whether or not it's there and back time or not. And that will make you better at the game. And you just play it on Frodo. If you're using the Frodo where it's free, then it's free, and you just hold on to it until you need it, break glass in case of emergency, and you don't lose the game. That's for 1 copy. If you want to roll multiple copies, that's more of a specific strategy. But please put 1 copy in your deck because it's like a Hobbit sword. But if you draw this and then also draw Hobbit sword, then Frodo is way strong,
Yeah.
and you win.
Realm of Dwero Delph is Strength +12.
Yes, Realm of Dweldelf is technically better in terms of maximum amount of strength that it grants, but we all know how busted Realm of Dweldelf is. We don't have to explain
You
that.
said show me another card that is Strength
Dwarf
+8.
is
and I'm
5, man. 5 is bad.
Oh yeah, no, but dwarves are bad because 5, right? We all know
Hobbits
that.
are 3, so don't get me started on low number.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if you don't run any hobbits, this is still good because it boosts your ring bearer, and that's the
Yes.
whole game. So put at
Until
least
you
one in
start
your
playing
deck.
Movie Block, where you aren't running Frodo, but you're having like Boromir
We're
as your
talking
ring bearer.
about the real
There and back
actual
again
game
in your
here,
goddamn
Bird. We're
deck.
talking
One
about
there and
real
back
Lord of the
again in your
Rings
deck's
cards,
good.
Fellowship block, not any of that lame stuff you people do with your 2 towers and your Rohan and your not having Frodo as a ring bearer. Okay, let's talk about the stealths. This I think
Yes.
could be an interesting discussion. So Hobbit Intuition and Hobbit Stealth, they both basically do the same thing, except one is at sights 1 to 4, cancel skirmish. At others, strength +3. The others sight 1 to 5. At others, strength +2. Who wants to talk about this?
Being able to cancel the skirmish with the Balrog is huge.
Yes.
And like William was saying, you need stuff that is Balrog solutions, and Hobbit Stealth is one of the best Balrog solution cards.
Yeah, but even after
Hobbit-
the Balrog, it's a thing that increases the strength
Buffs
of your
Frodo.
ring bearer, which
Yeah.
is the game. So even when
Hobbit
it's
Stealth is the Balrog solution that is baby mode for babies.
Yeah.
And since this video is for you guys who are baby modes for babies at this game, this is a much better solution than Skirmish 1, Legolas dies, Skirmish 2, Arwen dies.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
seen it. We've seen it. We've seen people we play, and we're like, we want you guys to be better at the game, so it is more fun for us to beat you. But just
Yeah, I
killing
saw
all
that
your
happen
guys
with
to our
someone.
Balrogs is not fun to us. Okay.
I used to be like that 10 years ago.
Now, Hobbit Intuition. Why have we included this? This can't stop the fight with the Balrog.
It's a strength
Okay.
+3.
Yeah, at Site
Yeah.
9, it's very good. Also, it can stop the Balrog if you've got a mithril coat and a sword. Frodo is all the way up to what? 6
9.
with the sword, and then that brings him up to a 9, so he's surviving the Balrog. If he's got a mithril coat, he's only taking 1 wound. So,
That's
you know,
right. So even though it's not getting him, it's not canceling the skirmish, it's getting him to 9, which Hobbit Stealth doesn't. And so in a way, it's dealing with the Balrog. And then at other sites,
Also-
it's a +3.
if you've got Friend of Sam or Son of Denethor combined with a Hobbit Stealth or Hobbit Intuition, Frodo can tank the Balrog.
Yep. There's lots of real fun combos, and they're just good cards. Okay, let's talk about power according to his stature.
Man, I add and remove this card from my deck so much because when it works, boy, does it work.
Yeah,
And then sometimes you're like, do I really want to add a burden just to get this out of my hand or hold it for the entire game until Site 9? But man, if you've got like 3 of those in your hand, you just win.
yeah, the number of
thing about power
times that
according to
I have
stature-
been Moria swarming somebody and they power according to his stature and against like my 5 minions that are stacked on Frodo and they all die is many times. Void Ninja, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, the thing about power according to stature is it is really annoying to draw it like turn 1, and it is amazing to draw it at Site 9.
Yes, but there is this amazing thing that some of you may not know about called discarding cards using the mechanics of the game. You want to have some cards that like, oh, this is actually not good to draw at this time, and then you discard it. Because if all your cards are good, you're actually not utilizing the mechanics of the game. Like, oh, I don't want to discard any of these. You're sort of wasting value there. So you don't have too many
Yeah,
cards that are bad to draw at certain times, but having a few are good, and this is a really good one.
I have this card in my deck, and it's useful, but my deck is weird, and it actually wants burdens. So
Oh yes, because you run Shire Countryside, which then
Yes.
gets rid of burden. Yeah.
I-
You have a very good
very
deck.
weird deck.
As
Yeah.
do we
Do
all.
we want to take a break and then tune in next time to talk about shadow cards because this video is going long?
That's probably a good idea.
Sure. We can do a second video on the good shadow cards. Until next time, Godspeed.